go ahead and get started. So welcome to our second Wild Worship Omaha service. I am Cass Opal, and this is of course my lovely co-facilitator, Reverend Juniper Meadows. And today you met her coming in, we have two special guests. Deb Ratzlaff was at the front door letting everyone in. She's an absolute wealth of information. She took me on a tour of the forest a couple of weeks ago, and it was just, I think I learned more in 2 hours than I did in years. And then of course also we have Liz Emus over here with our Wonder Kids. She's our Minister of Education at First United Methodist Church Omaha, and she brought our Wonder Kids with us. So we have a Wednesday night program that runs, although we only have a couple more until it takes a break over the summer, but then it will, so we have our Wonder Kids with us tonight. So just a couple of housekeeping, you did see there are electronic bulletins that you can scan, there are paper ones as well. If the weather continues to hold, we will still have our 45-minute wandering. So when it's time to come back, we will do what we did last time, which I absolutely loved, which was a howl. So there might be people at various spots out in the forest during the wandering time, so when you hear the howl, howl back. So that carries that sound forward. We'll howl at about 10 minutes before it's time to come back. That'll be the first one. And then again, when it's just time to start. Just a couple, stay on the trails. The boardwalk can get a little bit slippery. And of course, don't take anything or leave anything in the forest. So I would like to welcome you to the community inside the greenhouse. And you might be wondering what that has to do with anything. We're outside, not in a greenhouse. But I want to tell you a story. About 7 years ago, I was gifted a plant after my grandmother's funeral. It was a golden pothos. And it was a good thing it was, because that's one of your more low maintenance plants. And even though it had very low light and water and nutrient care requirements, I still managed to bring it to the brink of death's door multiple times. After that, it didn't take very long. Once I kind of stabilized the golden pothos, I was like, oh, I can do a photonia. And I just went, before you could say plant hoarder, went from a 1 to about 100 plants very quickly. Between my office and home, I still have that many. If there's one thing that I learned when I was caring for each of those plants, is that they are house plants, but they are still essentially wild plants ripped from their native soil and native ecosystems, shoved into a pot and then thrown into a greenhouse with a whole bunch of other plants they would not normally grow around. And no matter what the Google said, no matter what my plant app said, no matter what, I had to listen to the plants in my care if I was going to get them to thrive. If I didn't listen to them, then the only thing I was going to grow was my collection of empty pots. Humans are complex houseplants. We are all ripped from our native soil and forced to exist in one giant greenhouse. And that greenhouse is generally set up for golden pothos, the most low care requirement plant you could think. So how do we thrive in a greenhouse designed for golden pothos? We have to create communities. We rearrange the plants. We put the highlight plants shading the low light plants. We keep the plants that have different watering requirements separate from each other, and we rearrange the greenhouse so that it supports each other, so that it's connected. We create those communities. We don't segregate the plants, but we help them work together. We must be the diverse community in the greenhouse, knowing that we are all connected. Because like the elements are all connected. You cannot have earth without air, or water without air, or fire without air, or air without water, or earth without any of it. And if you remove one from any, they all die. We all die. So be the breath for your neighbor, water for the other, earth for the marginalized, and heat for those left in the cold. And with that, let us hear a poem by Thich Nhat Hanh. Walk as though your feet are kissing the earth. Lift your eyes as if you were lost in wonder at living on this beautiful world. Handle every possession as though you may never see it again. Greet everyone you meet as a long-lost brother and newly discovered teacher. See every fallen leaf as an irreplaceable painting. Each individual flower as priceless sculpture. Feel every feeling as though you know you will never be privileged to feel this exact same feeling ever again. Be here now.
Our first song, Friends, comes from one of our Unitarian Universalist hymnals that's singing the journey, but you have your lyrics on your order of service here. That's Ancient Mother, and it's pretty easy. I'll sing it once, and then you can sing it with me. It has kind of a chanting feel to it, so feel free to sing along with me if you like. If not, you can just be with the music in this beautiful space. Story, Liz. Take it away.
Thank you. So thank you to Reverend Juniper and my amazing colleague Cass for putting this together and for giving me an opportunity to share in this. I wanted to, post Earth Day, and in my faith tradition, we're coming up on a Sunday when we will honor our Indigenous land and the fact that this is not ours and never will be. And we call ourselves back to living among it and with it, rather than even stewarding it. There is no hierarchy in that, and it's much more relational. It's something that the children, thank you kiddo for coming to hang with me. It's something that the children are welcome. Kaitlin Curtice is an Indigenous woman. She lives now in Philadelphia. She has 4 of these books. I believe she's coming out with her autumn one next year. Hello Lily. But I wanted to offer Spring's Miracles to us tonight. And anyone who knows children's literature knows that children's authors are some of the most talented writers there are, because you have to boil down without boiling away the message. So it's crisp and clear. This book is for every kid who stops to take a deep breath and remember how brave you are. This story is for all of us. So I invite you to remember that you too are a child, and that never goes away. For the Anishinaabe people, spring is the start of a new year, the time to tap maple trees for syrup and celebrate everything waking up after a long winter. Spring, Nokme, is coming. Danny and her family are excited to welcome a new season, and this spring will be extra special. Danny, her brother Bo, their parents, and their dog Sam are all going on a trip to the mountains. They will camp, they will climb rocks, build a special fire, and eat a big meal to celebrate spring. Spring is when Danny's family celebrates the new year, because it's when all the animals and plants wake up after their winter rest. Wouldn't that be lovely? While Danny packs, she thinks about the miracles of spring, like the flowers blooming, the insects and animals coming out to say hello, and grandfather's sun shining brightly. Do you catch that we're all related? Grandfather? We're all family? Uh-huh. On the long drive to the mountains, Danny feels excited about the trip, but she's also a little nervous. What will the rocks be like? Will she make it to the top of that climb? Sometimes when Danny feels worried, she takes deep breaths to calm herself down. She closes her eyes and breathes to the 4 directions: north, south, east, and west. She counts to 4 in Potawatomi as she breathes in and out: got, nish, sway, and navy. Danny feels better by the time they arrive at the campsite. They set up their tent, give Sam food and water, and begin exploring these woods. Danny and Bo find all sorts of plants and animals: butterflies and ladybugs, coneflowers and dandelions, spiders and squirrels. They hear woodpeckers drilling holes and looking for food in a tree called tech above them. Danny leans down to inspect a newly bloomed purple flower. "Bozo," she says, "hello. You are so brave for blooming." The flower seems to stand up taller in response. That night, the family camps in their big tent. Danny is almost asleep when she hears a noise outside. She gasps and sits up, and Sam cuddles close to her. "Miigwech, Sammy, do you ever get scared?" Sam licks her face and Danny giggles, and soon she falls asleep. That night, Danny dreams about climbing big rocks and going on grand adventures. As she climbs large boulders and hikes across rolling green hills, grandfather's sun smiles down on her. And then Danny is swept into the air, flying next to hawks and eagles, celebrating that world around her. She knows that she is brave and loved by her family, Mother Earth, Segmukui, and Creator, Mamogosnan. Danny wakes up and thanks Creator for her dream. It's the first day of spring. After Danny's family eats breakfast and her parents finish coffee, they set out on a short hike. Soon they arrive at the base of a big rock, and Danny ties a rope to her harness while her mom and Bo get ready nearby. Danny is excited. The rock is so tall, and she just might climb all the way to the top. Danny's dad checks the rope, and he and Danny say the climbing safety words. Do we know this word? Some of us might. These are our rock climbing friends.
On belay.
On belay, she asks. "Belay on," Dad shouts. "Climbing," Danny replies. "Climb on," he says back. Danny begins to fly. Danny begins to climb. She can feel grandfather's sun shining on her, and she smiles up at him. She takes a deep breath and keeps moving. Danny looks across the rocks and waves to Bo. It seems like he's having so much fun. A few minutes later, after Bo has finished his climb, Danny begins to feel scared. She looks down at Bo and Mom and Dad, and they're smiling and cheering for her, but the ground is a long way down. Is she brave enough to keep going? Danny, Bo yells, breathe. You've got this. Danny remembers talking to Sam last night. He was brave when they heard a noise outside. Who is Sam in this story?
The dog?
The dog. She remembers how grandfather's sun rises every day no matter what is going on in the sky. She remembers saying hello to Grandmother Moon when she comes up every evening because she is brave. She remembers the flower she spoke to in the woods, and flowers bloom bravely when they wake up in spring. Danny remembers that she is brave too. Even when she is scared, she can still do great things. She pauses and closes her eyes and takes 4 deep breaths to the 4 directions, counting to 4. Gat, Mish, Sway, and Miyu. Danny places her feet on the rock and reaches up, and step by step, she climbs higher and higher. She makes it to the top of the rock and looks around. Far above her, a red-tailed hawk is gliding through the air, and she smiles. Danny knows that she is brave, like a bird flying high in the sky. That evening, Danny and her family celebrate their climbing adventures and the new life of spring with a special meal. They eat wild rice with berries, roasted fish, fresh veggies, and other tasty snacks. They eat pancakes with fresh maple syrup to celebrate the trees giving syrup to feed them. It is a New Year feast. Danny and her family share what they are thankful for and what they hope for the year ahead. Bo hopes for more adventures. Danny's dad hopes for more special family time. Danny's mom hopes for more nights around the campfire. And Danny hopes for more courage to explore the beautiful world Creator has given us. She hopes for more moments to breathe deep and to climb high. And after dinner, they sit around the fire and they look up at the stars. Grandmother Moon is high in the sky, and Danny can almost hear her deep breaths on the wind. She can almost hear her laughing and celebrating the miracles of spring. Thank you.
A body prayer isn't just what it sounds like, honestly. It is a prayer that involves your body, the physicality of oneself as an expression of spirit. And there are many, many kinds of body prayers. And the one I'd like to share with you today comes from the Dene community. And there are many practices in Native traditions that are not open broadly, but the Dene have been very generous and offered the beauty way. The beauty way, beauty is perhaps not even the best word to translate the idea of pojo. Pojo means something more like well-being, joy, goodness, bounty. But what other word have we found that encapsulates such dynamic power than beauty? And so I encourage us to consider, in this place of beauty, that beauty is not merely an aesthetic faculty, but it is something necessary for life, to appreciate, to deepen our relationship to the world around us. Because like Liz said, we're not talking about just being stewards, we're talking about being a part of a greater whole, of a greater ecology, of a greater planet, of a thing that we cannot own and must not pretend like we do. So hojo, in the traditional Dene, will be something like this, and the body prayer element is this motion. forward. Not over here, not over there, but on the trail and on the path of beauty. So in the Dene, it would sound something like this. Forgive my very white tongue. Hoshogo nashado. Shichichi hoshogo nashado. Shikedo hoshogo nashado. Shidegi hoshogo nashado. Taoso hoshinogo hoshogo nashado. Hojo nahasli. Hojo nahasli. Hojo nahasli. Hojo nahasli. And in English, it may be something like this. And I invite you, if you feel so led, friends, to repeat after me. In beauty I walk. In beauty I walk. With beauty before me I walk. With beauty before me I walk. With beauty behind me I walk. With beauty behind me I walk. With beauty above me I walk. With beauty above me I walk. With beauty around me I walk. With beauty around me I walk. It has become beauty again. 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 Amen. Blessed be. A brief moment of meditation, friends. I don't believe there's anything I could say to guide you or lead you in this moment that the birds can't do. The sounds of this world. But attend to the beauty of the sound in the world around you, with your eyes open or your eyes closed, but with an intention upon one's breath. And I do invite you, I will say this much, to consider the source of breath, where it comes from. All of this is a wider lung of the planet, of the person. We understand through the illuminations of science that through the process of photosynthesis, the plants drinking the sun, converting carbon into breathable oxygen for you and me and every other creature that walks on the soil, at least, on this planet, that flies through the air. We are wound up in this thing, friends, inextricably interwoven into a greater tapestry. In our tradition, in Unitarian Universalism, we call this the web of life, the web of relationship, the web of existence, because we are all bound up together. And reflect on this idea, friends, because insofar as this is a religious community, and I think it's okay to call it that, an interfaith religious community from people who are unchurched or Unitarian or Methodist or some other tradition, you are welcome here. But insofar as this is a religious community, I will leave you for a few moments before we begin our wandering with this quote from a luminary of our tradition, Mark Morrison Reed, who says, "The central task in the religious community is to unveil the bonds that bind each to all, human to human, person to world." Take this with you, friends. We'll sit in silence and be with our breath for about 3 minutes in silence, thinking about the ways in which we are connected to the world, and then we will go on our journey.